This is a Galaxy Report for Sunday, March 4th, 2007, episode 68. Welcome back to the Galaxy Report. I'm Freak Asaka. My co-host this week is Josh. Josh, how's it going?
Good evening.
Everything going great for you?
Tired.
You
Keeping
always
me
are.
up. I'm
Big
cranky.
baby.
I'm cranky from last night still.
The
fun we had.
I know, that was great. We'll be getting into that pretty soon. We have like a packed show for everyone this week. We're going to start off with what you've been doing. We have station pass increase, just a whole bunch of little news features. We have an interview with Blixtev. He sat down with us for about a half hour this week, go over some of Chapter 5, and gave us what at the time was a few sneak peeks at Chapter 6. But they've pretty much gone on to announce all of that. So, but we have that for you. We're going to talk about the producer letter and poll, and Josh has a Tuesday tip for everyone. So,
yep,
it's a lot to cover. Ooh, 2 of them. You can tell me about that.
One of them's learn how to read.
Okay.
But we'll get to that when we get to the station pass.
Awesome. So, do you want to start off with what you've been doing, or should I?
You should, because I'll just bleed into that.
Okay.
I'm in it anyway.
What have I been doing? I have been playing a game called Star Wars Galaxies. I know that's a shock for some of the regular listeners, since I haven't really played in, I don't know, about 3 months. I haven't played more than like an hour here, half hour there. But I was logged in for the majority of the week. I was trying to level my entertainer to level 90. And through the frustrations with, the whole display issue with leveling and the whole, I don't know whether it was like the server client not like syncing up or what was going on. I don't know, went to 39, dropped to 32, went to 49, dropped
70.
down. I spent an entire day grinding just to end up where levels. I was at the beginning of the day. It was great. Not frustrating at all.
Anyway. What's the matter?
I was at the keyboard some of the time. When I wrote that macro.
You did send me tells every couple of hours.
Yes.
Bitching about you're losing levels. Like, hey man, I'm 70. Oh, no, I'm 38 again. Sorry.
I didn't lose that many. I think the most I lost was 8. 8 at the time. Not bad. But they got that fixed, so that's always a good thing. At least I hope they did. I mean, I got to 90. So after I got to 90, I decided, this is a character I've done nothing with. He was he's the one I created on your server. They changed the name, so I can't even pronounce what my name is.
Rochambeau, we'll call him. It's spelled like that.
So
I can't even punch in the nuts.
I had nothing with him, so I'm like, you know what? The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go out and I was going to get my nice little clone armor that everyone tries to get at the beginning, and I got that. Worked my way through Jabba's a little bit, so I could do that. Not even touching the legacy quest right now, and then I decided last night to join the adventures of base busting with Gyron and Josh. Can I tell you that it was the best? What was that? 4 hours of my life.
4.5 hours and 6 bases went up.
Oh, what a joke!
Holy shit, that was painful. Oh man, that was the worst. I lost it completely last night. I nearly friggin' shot myself.
The best part was when you got mad when you didn't think you got the GCW points.
I didn't get any points.
You did end up getting the points. It was lag that was causing it. We kept telling you that, and then you're throwing a fit like 20 minutes after Gyron said, "Oh, I didn't get mine. Oh, it showed up because of lag." You start throwing a fit. You chuck your headset up against the wall, and it comes back and smacks you right in the face.
I know. I was really... And I started drinking towards the end of the night because I was like, oh, God.
Oh, that's why you suck so bad and grow afterwards.
I only team killed you 3 times in one game.
Yeah, you were a mess. My favorite one is when you had it set to 10 deaths. You had 9, I had 1, and Gyron had 1, and we lost because you died so many times.
With 4 seconds left in the game. That was awesome. Yeah, base busting.
Base busting. Okay, one, I know I complained about you doing the whole base busting. Everyone get together, go out and do the things. After you explained to me that the bases are only active for like what did you say, 1 hour?
For like an hour, yeah.
Yeah, 1 random hour a day. I understand why you guys are doing it. It's a flaw with the gameplay. Not necessarily a flaw, but I don't like the way it's set up with the gameplay mechanic that requires it. Like, if you really want to level up, especially if the other team is doing it, like the other side, that's what you have to do. Everyone gets together and bust these bases. The problem was I don't know who organized last night's event, but the fact that we spent so long that we couldn't bust one of the bases because we ran out of time.
I know, it was great. We dropped, there was 3 bases down there were dropped like 4 hours prior. And one idiot dropped the base like right in a tree, so the tree was stuck inside the base. Like when you go inside the base, there was a tree and you couldn't get to the panel. And everybody got stuck inside the base. And then instead of just using, on stick, they call the GM shows up and we're base busting. And then he broke one of the bases on us, so 2 of them didn't go up, and the third one went up, but then I didn't get points on it.
You ended up getting points later.
I get the one the other ones we went to later. I couldn't believe how rotten that night was. All we did was sit on Skype and tell him about your son who was watching us.
Well, before we do that, I wanted to complain about the whole organization of the event. And at one time, I said we need to somehow find a way to recruit some of the guild leaders from WoW who sit there and can gather together 40-man raids to go into Molten Core and keep track of DKP or DPK or whatever the hell they call it to try to see who gets to roll on what. And they have all these elaborate systems and they can keep it all organized. We couldn't get a group of people together to these bases that were dropped 4 hours prior and have 4 people go in and just do the terminals on each one.
We had 60 people and I was on vent. And I love my guild and I love all the Imperial guilds and they're all really nice people. They're so disorganized sometimes. I'm on vent while I'm on Skype with you and Tim and listening in on this. They're trying to figure out the best way to go about it. It's you drop the bases. You're all generals anyway. Just blow them up.
Oh, it was a mess. The best part of the night, though, what totally saved the night was my son had a sleepover, and he had his little 8-year-old buddy here with him, and they're sitting there watching me play, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm playing the Star Wars game." And they're like, "Well, you're just standing there." I'm like, "I know. That's what you do." I go, "I pay them $15 a month to do this." And the kid's like, "You pay them or they pay you to do this?" I'm like, No, I pay them. I give them money so I can stand here." He's like, "So you just stand there?" I'm like, "Yeah, we just stand here and it's fun."
And we did for 4 hours.
And they're just sitting there watching, and I start showing them my guy and everything. And this will make all the people who say the target audience is 10-year-olds wonderfully happy when the kid's like, "You know what? I'd be a Jedi because then I'd have a lightsaber and I could kill things with it."
And then they were all obsessed with the Gungans. They're like, "Oh, Jar Jar!" And then I shot them.
I like Jar Jar.
And blew them away.
They're like, "Why don't you fight people? Why don't you do something?" I'm like, "No, this is what we do. We just stand here."
Just me, Tim, and the Canadian guy.
Yep. You should have seen the rest of the week when I just stood there dancing, trying to level my guy up. Tons of fun. No, but I really think they need to work something into the base. I can understand them not wanting to have bases totally exposed all the time because there's no way you could really organize a defense for that. But they should set something up where say I don't know, your base is going to be, because what is it? It's 1 hour once a day or 1 hour
something
once
like
a week?
that. 1 hour for 24 hours of server reset or something along those lines.
So they should have something where it's okay, it's going to be vulnerable for 4 hours in the evening, during peak time, say twice a week. And you won't know, there won't be a pattern, but then there should be some sort of move where maybe high ranking officials in the Imperial Army can do checks to see the vicinity of where an active base is. So say they could go there and somewhere within 1,000 meters, they'll know there's a base that's attackable. So people can you can send out your spies. The spies can go into areas, find out where it is, and then bring in everybody else. And then the other team knows, okay, it's going to be. They should know when it's going to be vulnerable, but it should be during peak times where the majority of the people are, and they can have their people on there. They can protect it. Or they at least have the opportunity to be there to protect it.
And this kind of ties in.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. This kind of ties into our chapter 5. No, I'm talking. Shut up.
I'm sorry.
This ties into our loose ends of chapter 5. But right now, if the points increase for PvP and PvE right now, you can pretty much, if you play pretty dedicatedly, you can actually level your guy up about 20k a week. But if you have a loophole like this where it's way easier to just sit around and do nothing, why would anybody grind it out the right way?
See,
the second you have,
I would if we would do it as a group, but the problem is you need a group to do a lot of this stuff. And if the rest of the group, if you don't have anyone else in a group to do it, You really can't do it. And with the way the vulnerability works, it makes no sense to sit there to try to go out to where these bases are without knowing if they're vulnerable or not.
Yeah, it's
that's
why
something
take the stairs when we can take the elevator?
Yeah. We definitely agree something needs to change with that.
Yeah, the system sucks.
I wouldn't say sucks. It just needs to be tweaked. I mean, there's a viable system there. It just needs to be tweaked to make it more to give people more of an. People need they should have the incentive to go out there and actually play it the right way than to do it this way.
And the faction should have an incentive to place their own bases.
Right.
There's no reason for me to drop a base other than someone else will blow it up eventually.
Yeah, you don't want to help the other team. It goes into the whole. I wonder they should tie it into like the static bases too, and have it like planetary control, and you have to have control of that to be able to get some of those buffs that you can get from the static bases. Tie them together.
Planetary control is so stupid. I mean, what's planetary control do? I mean, fine, if we take over Corellia, then level 25 stormtroopers will attack any rebel that happens to be in Coronet. So what?
See, what they need to do, they need to tie it to the static bases to make it, those super buffs that you can get from the bases.
Oh, wait. You're talking about the banner and all that?
Yeah,
the officer banner is better than the one you can get at the bases for holding it for 3 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The only thing you get there
but that does entail a lot more work, though. But they should tie them together. So, because I mean, those you can get those buffs and they mean something. Tie it to the planetary control, and then add higher level NPCs. Of course, keep I would say at least one city under the opposite faction control, so others can come in flying safely, do what they have to do. But they should also incorporate space, have space patrols. I mean, that'd be the perfect way to tie it in. It's if the Imperials have Naboo under control, then they should have Imperial squadrons flying around in space.
This game isn't dangerous enough anymore.
No.
I am this evening there when I was waiting for you to do the show. I was bitching and moaning about how late it was. I was just flying around the galaxy trying to find something other than a Deathwatch bunker or Restus that I could actually get killed at and just solo.
Thankfully,
for some PvE content.
Thankfully, they know that the game is way too easy, and that's something that they want to work on. But I'm not going to spoil the whole Blix interview because they went ahead and spoiled everything by releasing all the awesome info I thought we were going to be able to break. But
I know that made me cranky. I was nagging you for that too. I was like, "I'll screw LucasArts licensing department. Let's release it right now."
I'm like, no, let's just wait. Oh, man. So let's get into news. We'll start off with the station pass increase this week, which...
Learn to read, people.
Number one, learn to read. Galaxies is not going up. Just the station pass. Galaxies the same, $14.99 or $14.95. Did
you see that retard that posted it on every single Galaxy board? The Wookiee guy?
No, I didn't.
He went around, he wrote, "This is a protest. What do you think of SOE raising up this much for Star Wars Galaxies? Yada, yada, yada." And he made this long-winded, misspelled post, and he put it on every single Galaxy forum because he was doing a survey.
Oh, that's what happens when you let Wookiees post on the forums. They should be banned.
I just wish people need to take 5 minutes to read anything. When I see something I think is bad, I usually just stop for 5 seconds before I post anything because you're just going to look like an ass if you just go off on a spiel about something like that.
Yeah, if you want to complain about the price increase because you're a station pass, you have the station pass. Feel free. It makes sense to me to complain because really what they're doing, they're jumping to $19.99 right now. They're jumping to $29.99.
It's 24, isn't it?
I thought it was 19 right now.
No, it went from 19 to 25.
No, it's going to 29.
I know, but it's going from 25 to 29. It's going from 19 to 25 was the last big fiasco. Yeah, 25 seems like the perfect place for me because going up to 29, it only benefits you if you're playing 3 MMOs. And who's really playing 3 MMOs at a time right Kyron.
now? No, he's not. He may have 3 Galaxies accounts, but he's not.
No, wait, he did have at one point. Because we were playing City Heroes, Galaxies, and Warcraft. He was playing at the same time at one point.
But he probably canceled his Galaxies accounts for a day.
No, he canceled his Warcraft, then he brought up EQ2. So yes, Gyron does play 3 or 4 MMOs at a time.
No, he doesn't have them right now, so.
Not right now, he's down the Galaxies and EQ2 right now.
No, he's down to just Galaxies, I think. I think he got rid of his
Station Pass on again?
I think so.
I can't
It's hard to tell with him. I mean, he's so freaking... It just depends on the day. Like, I thought he was going to show up for the show tonight because he emailed me, hey, what time's the show? I told him what time the show is going to be. He's logged into Skype right now, but he's not responding to anybody. So it makes me feel like he fell asleep, or maybe his Gundam game came in from Japan for the PS3.
Oh, no, he went and bought new 360 games this afternoon. He ditched me, and he went to go to Best Buy.
Yes.
What's it called? Some new Japanese import games again.
No, it's not imported. It's, what is that? It's like it's that witch game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, I emailed him because, like, I looked at it, like, I saw screenshots. I'm like, hey, that looks kind of interesting. And I emailed him. I'm like, is it really worth $50 or is it more of a $19.99 game?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, it's a $19.99 game. Okay.
I'll pick that up later.
But
I'm no rush to spend another $60.
Yeah. It's only 50. Enough of
like
Gyron and his, yeah. You guys don't count it.
I hate you, Gyron.
All right, let's talk about chapters 5.1 and 5.2, because Station Pass, read the notes. Where'd it go?
To be fair, the devs don't make that clear all the time, whenever they post it.
This one was pretty clear, said Station Pass, so.
They just need to put, like, big, bold, 64 font letters.
Galaxy's not increasing. Okay, so chapter 5.1 hit us on Tuesday. This brought in the bizarre subcategories being removed that you had talked about last week that was on Test Center.
Yep.
So they did the whole tweak there. Survey droids have been changed and now use the correct skill check. Pardon me while I hiccup there. Items removed an extra radio menu option from weapon power-ups. Socket retrofitting tool. If you try to use a socket retrofitting tool while the tool is empty, you will be given a system message informing you that the tool is empty.
I haven't done a lot of that yet. I didn't do much of my own reverse engineering. I pretty much gave a bag of all my stuff to my guild's armorsmith, and she did it all for me.
I'm going to, I think I'm going to take my Farik on Starsider and turn him into a crafter. I don't know.
Take my Farik.
Yeah. Take my Starsider Farik.
You have two characters in Starsider now, don't you?
Yeah. The one I can't pronounce in Farik. So
sweet. What's Farik at?
52, 53.
I can level him up.
I will.
Did you go combat or buff on
combat?
Rochambeau.
I'm combat entertainer.
Sweet.
It seems pretty decent. I mean, to me, honestly, it feels like a pre-expertise profession.
Does remember last week we were talking about the animations, but we hadn't looked into it. What are your animations like? Do you get any TKA stuff? Yeah,
I mean, it's just like kicks. You know, you have some spin kicks, some hits. I mean,
you get that red line that follows you around.
No, you don't have a red line. You have like it's like a I don't know. It looks like wind. Really,
like the streamer thing.
Yeah, it looks like wind, not like some red streamer. But cool. I think the only thing that's missing from it, and I think they should add it to expertise, there should be some sort of minor heal for the entertainer. I'm not anything on par with what the other professions have.
Like a 2K heal.
Yeah. So or something like a basic heal like the other professions have before it's enhanced by expertise.
Well, you know, entertainers can get that the heals too. The entertainer buffs. There's a really good reactive heal. It's like heals you. There's a 25% chance of healing every time you get hit.
Nice.
And if you just get buffed by an entertainer,
but
you'll have your heal right there.
It definitely like right now in the Galaxy. You can do pretty much. I think you could do pretty much anything. You could be viable in a group in like a PvP situation too.
Yeah, entertainer is proportionally scaled to what the NPC mobs are right now. Everyone should be at the same. You know, like the difference between the entertainer mob and the rest of the NPCs in the game.
Yeah,
that's about the ratio it should be for combat classes. Right now, we're pulling everything.
It still seemed a little easy. The highest level thing I took out was an 84. And I was taking on like 3 level 84s without a problem.
Can you take out a super battle droid in the bunker?
I don't know. I haven't been to the bunker.
You probably couldn't do that. You need a heal.
Yeah.
Even I went there today, just getting the entertainer buffs and just my offhand buffs I have, and I always got raped in the bunker, but I was actually able to take out a couple of droids today, the SBDs.
Nice.
I could tank with that reactive heal, which hell is frozen over when a commando can solo the bunker.
Don't worry, you guys will get nerfed soon. I hope.
I hope we all get nerfed.
No. Sweet.
I went to K and crappy heals and difficult mobs again.
Let's see what else we have in 5.1. We'll get to all that fun stuff later.
Yeah.
Pets that were tamed as mounts should be available again and called as mounts. It seems like they fix this, it breaks. They fix it, it breaks. It's crazy.
I know. I don't know how they broke that. There was nothing in the chapter about, unless, well, this goes forward a little bit. What if they started putting in some of the Beastmaster stuff in the background?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Chapter that broke everything.
Yeah. Profession Entertainer, they increase the amount of XP both for Entertainer and Trader. And this is something I did notice. Before, like Sunday, I started leveling up Entertainer. It was really, really slow at first, but then, minus the whole losing levels, after this XP tweak, it really affected things.
Yeah, wasn't the Master Box like 16 mil or something for crafters?
I don't know.
It was huge.
I have no clue. You called me out for AFK and I wasn't.
What do you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Reverse engineering. An issue was corrected that made some items extremely difficult to reverse engineer and made it difficult to extract the power bits that were better than their original source item.
See, there's a whole deal on that right now, reverse engineering. Neither you or me are very fluent in it, but there's the whole thing with people were exploiting to get the plus 35 bits that weren't added in until the hotfix.
Right.
And now the people that have, elder bits want compensation, and the people that got the newly ones who didn't exploit want the other ones nerfed, I think. I haven't looked too deep into that. But.
Well, it depends on, was it an exploit or was it just a failure with the system? If it was, people found a way around the system, but if it was a bug in the system that was causing them to get it, it's a 35 bit.
Yeah,
I mean, yes,
besides the fact
bit, but
I don't understand the people that go so nuts over it. I mean, a lot of people are real stat whores in the game.
Right.
We're talking 10 constitution, stamina, or precision. That's, 7 per point? So
yeah.
you have 70 more health. I mean, who the hell cares?
I could understand if they were coming out level 55 power bits or something, but they're not.
Yeah,
they're 35.
if you're doubling it, but it's only 10 more. I mean, that's not that much in the scheme of things. There's so many more things breaking the game right now.
Just chill. Just relax.
Elder power bits.
Elder power bits. Legacy. Isn't that what they call older stuff? Legacy.
Legacy. There's a thing we haven't had in a while.
Bizarre item changes. There's just a whole list of things that they tweak. And then Chapter 5.2 hit us, what was that, Thursday night? Yeah.
Yeah, the servers went down at 9 Eastern.
And that was basically to fix the whole disappearing levels issue that they were trying to fix. And obviously they did because I leveled up the next morning to 90. So,
which is another issue I've been hearing about is stuff disappearing off people's vendors. But I haven't seen a hotfix for that yet, but they've acknowledged it as a bug.
Their stuff's just going poof.
Yeah, people are buying, someone will go up and buy something off a vendor and they won't get the item, they won't get the email, but the other person will get their money. Just a bunch, and people are losing stock off their vendors. I don't know how much the claims are real. I've seen people go I'm trying to buy a Mando schematic and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like, during the CU when people started claiming a lot of skills just so they can level up.
Yeah.
I have a feeling people are trying to make illegitimate item claims.
In the CU where you could go from nothing to double master in 3 days.
Oh Christ, back to the CU, I remember getting my scout, I was just grinding up my alt because I unlocked my Jedi 2 days after the CU. And I was going out and just, grinding this new character and I was capping scout with 1 or 2 kills. It was 2 and 4 times XP.
Well, yeah, I was saying on Bloodfin where we had 4 times the XP. And it was just ridiculous. I would skin a creature and I would get 30,000 XP off of it.
And you could respec every day for a month.
Oh, man.
That was fun.
Good days.
Yep.
Not really.
Well, I don't know. I was Jedi back then. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I remember being scared shitless every time I logged in, and I kind of missed that.
Well, you actually liked Risk in the game?
Yeah, I'd rather be on the, seat of my pants than, wanting to go boot up my Xbox 360 or wanting sit here and watch paint dry sometimes. Actually, what's really great about base busting the other night? In Galaxies, I've always had, you play the games, 2 different kinds of anger. There's, the sucks, and, the old pre-CU one where you get your chest plate or something ripped to crap, and you get really mad, just piss, you're completely pissed and log off. And there's like the galaxy's mad that's like in the NG. You're like, oh, this game sucks. You just kind of log. Last night I had that, pre-CU anger again. Something was really pissing me off in the game, and I logged off out of hate.
Like,
that was kind of cool.
I don't know. Like, for some reason, like, I'm just like into playing the game again. Where like I want to log in. It's not like I'm making myself. It's like I'm like making the effort to actually like log in and play the game, and I'm having fun. And like today, I was out hunting for God, what were they? Cannibal dewbacks. And I was just like flying around on my speeder. I did that for like an hour trying to kill enough of these things for the mission I was doing.
Oh, for the your nice little painting?
Yes. So like, and like I was just having fun, and I don't know. I was very happy.
You had content.
I know. I had content for
Unfortunately, I did that quest 2 years ago, so kind of SOL.
I've done it a couple times too. So different characters, though. I'm not exploiting or anything, people. So should we play the Blix interview for the kids now?
Okay.
Sounds good. I just want to let everyone know before I get into it, I was kind of like hopped up on cold medication when I did the interview. I had like a solid date. I think I was able to edit it up to make it sound like I was able to complete questions, but I did. I had so much stuff I could have asked him. I tried to ask what I could, and I tried to like get a few little hints at what Chapter 6 would be, which we did.
And there's places they won't let us go. We have to stick to a bit of an itinerary with them.
Right. I mean, there were some things like I talked to him beforehand where he just didn't have that information with him at the time. Like there's one thing I forgot what it was, but the guy who was working on the system wasn't in, so he didn't have that information right there with him. So it's like, well, why ask that question if all I'm going to get is I don't really know. It didn't make sense to me. So we'll go ahead and roll that for you now. All right, joining me right now to talk about Chapter 5, some of the ins and outs of it, is the new lead designer of Star Wars Galaxies, Blixtev. Blix, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Congratulations on the new title. I hear.
Thank you.
I hear we're supposed to expect good things from you.
Yeah, I've been around the team for upwards of 3 years now. I pretty much know what's going on. Hopefully, what the community wants, and we'll try and give them that.
And you're willing to listen too, right?
Of course. I'm always open to suggestions.
Awesome. Well, I have just I guess the best way to describe it is a crap ton of questions. I had help from all sorts of sources pulling these together. I can't say I've been a big entertainer or trader in the past, year of playing the game. So I had a lot of help. I may not understand everything I'm about to ask you, but hopefully you do, and we can get some of these issues, either the issue solved or further explanation on why things happened the way they did.
Right. Sounds great to me.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay,
go ahead.
Let's start with entertainer. What was the vision for the entertainer profession when you guys went into this? What did you want to do?
So we looked at a lot of the social elements that players wanted to have. The entertainers wanted people visiting them in the cantinas again. They wanted to have their whole customer client base happening again. They just wanted to do what they do, and that's entertain. So we wanted to kind of put that drawback in there, and we also wanted to give them a lot of fun things that they've been asking for over the last couple of years.
How close do you think you came to realizing, like, a good compromise between what you guys were shooting for and what the community wanted?
I think we came pretty close. Forum feedback looks pretty good. Entertainers are back in the cantinas. Players are flocking to the cantinas. And then now we also have entertainers going out into the field, assisting out in the field, which is pretty cool too.
That's what I'm shooting for. I want to be that kind of like TKA entertainer guy. They're
not so much the combat class that everyone envisions them as. They're just out there to help a little bit. If their friends get attacked, they can help, but they don't have a primary role out there in combat specifically.
Right. Let's talk about AFK entertainers. This seemed to kind of make it harder to do that, but I heard that there's like some instances of people being able to like AFK buff, possibly. What are you guys doing to try to make sure that that doesn't happen, that it doesn't become like a consistent thing where it's just like the old buff bot days of doctors?
Sure. So we've been most of the brunt of the new systems we put in required active gameplay. The whole build a buff thing, there isn't a way to macro that. If you want to get that, you actually have to play the little mini game that goes into building a buff. So I think in the past, the AFK entertainer has been a large rallying cry for the entertainers, but I think we pretty much solved a lot of that with the level of interactiveness that goes into the build a buff.
One of the things just prior to like the combat upgrade, entertainers could buff themselves. Is there any thought on letting them do that again?
Sure, we're always open to suggestion on that. I'm not sure if that was cut on purpose or if that was a feature design.
Okay. All the entertainer buffs for the entertainer profession are gone. Was there a reason behind that? Like, an entertainer can't give them, or even like if they watch another entertainer, there's no bonus they can get from doing that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one, to be honest with you. So the question is there's no buff that an entertainer can give another entertainer
that would
that
benefit
helps
the
them entertain?
Right.
Gotcha. I remember Tunso was working on some skill mods that had to deal with giving the entertainers useful skill mods. Perhaps there's just a buff that he didn't add in.
Build-A-Buff has taken some getting used to, but overall it seems like people are pretty happy with it. One of the issues seems to be is that the recipient of the buff doesn't see the options in their UI. Is there any way that can be added so they can kind of go through and they can tell the entertainer, okay, I want you to do this, 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 and this?
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, and I've seen it a couple times already. When we put in the Build-A-Buff system, it's a pretty complicated system. And it's something I don't think that any other MMO offers. They don't give you the ability to take little tiny buffs and make them into this one big package and then apply that to a player. So it's a purely dynamic buff, and in the end, what you can get. And so we were really going out on new ground here, and a lot of little extras will come over time, but we just wanted to get the base system out there and see how it stood up to player use.
Okay, trader buffs. Master traders are finding that it's not really worth their time, like, to go to an entertainer to get a buff, that the time it takes to actually get the buff isn't worth the reward that they get from the actual buff. Is that something that's open to possible tweaking?
Yeah, we're always open to tweaking. Like I said, this is a brand new system that we put out. We're still in exploratory mode. We'll take feedback as players who are actually using it on a daily basis. So we'll just see how the feedback comes, and we'll throw those ideas up there for when we have some time and perhaps put some tweaks out there.
Okay, while we're on the topic of feedback, what's the best way to get feedback back to you guys? Especially you in particular. You know, you're on the forums. What's a way to catch your eye, or what's a good way to present it without, coming off? I mean, some people tend to come off a little bit strong in their criticisms.
Sure, we have a very active community, and a lot of people will take the freedom of the internet to insult others. It causes some good threads to get locked. It's really unfortunate. But to talk to me, I mean, my PM box is literally flooded every day. It's hard to find good posts on the forums. I rely a lot on stuff that I see in the Senator forum, and I do spend a little time in the general forum every day just kind of trying to answer a question or two.
Okay, so the best way, don't insult the devs, and you'll have more of a chance of having your voice heard.
Yeah, there's nothing that will make me angrier than people insulting the guys that work for me, because they do a great job and they put in a lot of time. And they really do like to hear positive feedback about things. Now, they'll accept negative, but you have to be kind of not so vehemently angry towards that person, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, they're not doing it on purpose to make you mad. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, image designers with Chapter 5. Nothing really changed with theirs. Is that something that's possibly in the future, or why wasn't that wrapped up into this whole entertainer change?
Well, image designers, when you think about it as an element of the entertainer, they pretty much had most of the tools, if not all of the tools, that they need to do their specific task. I mean, they're not a unique entity that does an entire class worth of stuff now. They take care of the appearance modifications for players, and that's just a piece of what the entertainer does. So the long answer is we're probably not going to add anything more for them in the near future. But like I said, we're always open to suggestions if it's reasonable and we can get it done.
Their interface. That's the little note I have right here. It says their interface could use a revamping. So,
well, when you use the words revamp, that definitely sounds like a big published feature.
But tweak.
Perhaps we can look at the elements of the interface that are causing problems, because maybe it's just they don't like the placement of certain buttons, or there isn't enough feedback, and we can always look at those things.
Jedis, they used to get a bonus from the weaponsmith buffs that helped them with like the resource stats and the assembly and experimentation. But now they don't receive a bonus from that. Is that intended?
They used to receive a buff from the weaponsmith, or they used to receive a buff from the entertainer?
From the entertainer, they would receive the weaponsmith buff, and that would help them in crafting. So
those old buffs were removed in favor of the Build-A-Buff. And perhaps there's some elements that we can add back in there. I'm not saying it was done on purpose. I'm just saying we pretty much removed most of those older buffs and replaced it with the Build-A-Buff system.
Okay. Badges for dancer, musician, image designer currently aren't being used. This is something I think that's left over from the whole switch over during the NGE. Are they ever going to be made attainable again, or are they going to be removed like some of the other pre-NGE classes have been?
Which were we talking about?
The dancer, musician, and image designer. The badges for those are not being given.
In one of the hotfixes, we should have given the badges back. That was that just happened. Pretty much every single old title and badge that the entertainers and traders had, they should be getting back.
Okay, holobands. What was the point behind those?
So the holoband is a great flavor aspect. Within the Star Wars universe, the form of communication is the holographic projection. And when we put in the holopets, we unlocked some technology on our end that made it very easy to clone an existing creature or character and make it do things. So the holoband was just one more further step in the exploration of that. And I think it came out pretty neat. A lot of things we just put in because we think they're going to be fun, and we hope the player base thinks they're fun. And there's really just no ultimate sinister goal behind it.
The animation's being used for the entertainer combat. That kind of opens up the whole particle effect entertainer debate, where they, or not entertainer, but the particle effect animation. What's the thing? Like some of the professions seem like they use the animation, some of the particle effects. What chooses what goes in? Like how did you guys decide to use the animations for the entertainment?
So a lot of our animations were used based on the older melee ones, and we needed ones that were fast enough to reflect the current speed of combat. So unfortunately, this did block out a lot of the older animations that are very elaborate and long, because our combat is just simply too fast for them to play fully, and they would constantly be slipping. If there's some more that we can put in there that will fit the speed of combat, we're open to it. And then further into your question on particles, one of our features on the table this year is either a slider or an ability to turn off a lot of the particle effects, because I know a lot of the player base has been asking for it because their machines can't handle big combat areas when just all these particles start going off.
Yeah, those medics in their gas cloud. We'll blame them.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a beefy machine, you can keep up with it, but we always want to enhance everybody's gameplay, so that sounds like a good win situation for this next year.
I'd like to get your perspective on the buffs not carrying over between logins. So if you get, you get a buff, you play with it for an hour, you have to log off, you come back, you still don't have that buff. Is there a reason why they're removed during logout?
Yes. So with all of our buffs except the Build-A-Buff, we make them persist basically, and there's a technology reason that we can do that. With the Build-A-Buff, there are these unique identities that's a little more difficult to track. Plus, we really wanted people to go back to the cantina when they expired. And our overall view on the Build-A-Buffs is they're very temporary. So we don't anticipate people logging out for long periods of time and actually unloading from the server so that they lose their buffs. I mean, if you go link it or whatever and come back, you should still have it. But if you actually log out for an extended period of time, you are going to lose that limited buff.
Okay. Now, with all these buffs being added to the game, even before it, the whole the PvE element, it's been very easy for a lot of the elements in the game. They were extremely soloable. Is there any work being done on possibly doing an AI balance pass that would kind of beef these up? So if you're fighting a level 90 or if you're a level 60, you're not sitting there taking out a level 80 NPC, very easily.
Yes, you're exactly correct. Over the last year, we've added in all these extra pieces, and basically we've kept pumping up the power level of the player. Well, unfortunately, we didn't do the corresponding creature increases, so they've remained kind of static over the last year. So what we're going to have to do here, and is on the table for our next publish, is going back to these older creatures and NPCs and making them a bit more challenging, and perhaps tying them into some of our new systems with new loot objects, so players have a reason to go back to them.
Awesome. Okay, let's move on. We'll kind of wrap up the trader expertise and the reverse engineering together, since they're tied together so tightly.
Sure.
Let's start with the trader expertise. What were you guys shooting for with that?
Well, we wanted to unify the trader professions because they've been this weird hybrid on the back end for the last year, and a lot of them wanted to get a lot of the roles that they used to have back in the game. And we tried our best to get as many of those facets back in with what we could do in one publish cycle.
Okay.
I think we hit a lot of them. There's still a little bit more that needs to be done. Certain classes felt they didn't get enough. But again, when we look at it, we actually did 5 professions this publish, including the entertainer, and that was just a lot of stuff to hit. So if a couple things fell through the cracks, so be it. We'll have to go back and revisit some of those.
The one thing I'm curious about is how the professions for the traders were originally tied together, and we were kind of hoping with this, at least on the show, it was one of our hopes that with Chapter 5 that you're going to kind of like split up the trader professions where you could actually go through and you could pick the 2 that you wanted to be. Like, I want to be a weaponsmith tailor, or I want to be like an armorsmith chef. Was it ever a possibility to split those up and give people the choice of picking the 2 that they want to go together?
So, funny you should ask that, because over the last year we've been kind of tricking you where we just combined the older ones into the classes. We actually used this opportunity to build a proper class, as you've seen with some of the XP Fallout issues, to unify everybody under one system. We've been operating under this hybrid system, which was causing a variety of problems on our side, from just bug fixing and implementation wise to how the players felt about the classes. I think now that everybody is actually a class and the data is all the same, it should be easier to maintain and for us to add new features.
Reverse engineering. What was the goal behind that?
So the goal behind that is, if you remember, the space reverse engineering game was a lot of players just had fun collecting things, blowing them up, and seeing what they got out of them and what they could make out of these things that they found and blew up into smaller things. With the reverse engineering for the ground game, we pretty much gave them that system, and I think it's been pretty popular and well received the last couple weeks.
A lot of people were hoping that this would be the attempt, or this would be what would be put in to make crafters a viable profession, and bring back some of that pre-CU economy that was really that kind of drew a lot of people to the game. It seems like it's been a temporary boost where it gives people a reason to go to the crafter again, but that seems very limited. Once you have your set of armor, once you have the buff stats on it that you want, what's to draw you back to going to a crafter?
Well, so every time you get an upgrade, you're going to want to go back and get a new skill enhancement set made for whatever that new piece is. As long as we keep adding newer and more armor and weapons, people will constantly be going back to get pieces from the trader. I think the trader is very viable. Lots of players have been reporting increased sales across the board, and I'm hoping that keeps up. We put in a couple of other things for the trader, and with all of our new systems coming out that we have on the table, they all have a little aspect, so we can give something to at least one of the trader professions.
What about decay? Is that still completely off the board, or is that a possibility to, even if it was just on crafted item, to just try to bring back some of that repeat business?
So a lot of the player base, it's a very heated debate, is the decay mechanism, and that is what drove a lot of the player sales, but it was also one of the major complaints amongst the combatant classes. And it was basically pitting the 2 different styles of player base against each other. We did away with decay over the last year, and I think at this point bringing it back would create a lot of hardships that we've already put under the table. We've dealt with that pain once, we really don't want to bring it up again, and we just look forward to finding better ways to get traders reoccurring business.
Okay, so you're hoping more like adding additional items, more like power bits for them to play with, will replace the whole decay mechanism.
Yeah, ultimately what the traders wanted is a way to get reoccurring business. And we want to do it in the least painful way as possible, rather than blowing up everybody's objects and forcing them to go get new ones. If we can keep giving them little better stuff to obtain for whatever reason it does something unique, then players will go back to the traders. As we've seen, we put out new droids. All of a sudden the droid engineers are flooded with orders to get these new droids. So we just have to keep on top of adding new things for our trader profession to provide the public with.
One of the things that were added for the engineer. Actually, there's two things added for the engineer expertise system. The level 6 and 7 data item storage modules. They offer the same functionality, but the level 7 requires more resources. Is that something that's an issue that just hasn't been, that needs to be dealt with, or is that as intended?
Sounds like a bug to me.
Okay.
I'll have to talk to Hans, who implemented that system, and see if he just made a typo or forgot a comma somewhere.
Can traders ever look forward to quest-based leveling as a supplement or alternative to outright grinding?
So we've been periodically trying to add content to Star Wars Galaxies over the last year, and typically the player base just finds ways that level even faster than going out and doing quests. We of course like to add more content, and we'll do it when we can. But when we put new content in, we would really like to focus on the end game, because that is where the current majority of our player base is. It's not to say we're not going to add any more mid to even lowest level content, but right now our veteran players and upper level players are all screaming for new content, and we'd love to give it to them. And I'm hoping with Chapter 6 they do get to see some of that.
Okay. And that, I guess I'll bring that up now then. Legacy Quest, that was kind of like the thing that was going to help us level from, 0 to 90. And it got to a point and it just it seems to have fallen to the wayside. What's going on with that? Is that something that's just got put off because of the amount of expertise you guys were dealing with and it will be finished up later? Or has that been stopped altogether?
Yeah, as you alluded to, we did have a full plate with all of the expertises. And the Legacy Quest series, we found that there really wasn't as much return as we would have liked on it from the player base. Yes, people did it, but it was out of their level range, so they did it to just kind of go through it and see what the rewards were. It didn't hit a large portion of our player base because a lot of our player base isn't in those levels anymore. And like I said, ultimately we would like to give as much stuff for the biggest range of players, so we get basically the best bang for the buck out of our development time. So I would expect to see a lot more content centered on the upper end fairly soon.
Okay. The issue I see with it, because I created a new character on Starsider because I'm really cheap and I didn't want to spend the $50 to transfer my character like my buddies did. And
Okay.
what I found with it is the legacy will take you up to about 50, between 50 and 55, depending on what else you do between that. And then it's kind of like a handhold up to that point, and then you're kind of like left out in this world where, yeah, there's missions on cash you can do to get you up to like 70, but it feels like two very different systems. There's no like easy bridge between them. It's like your hand is held up to this point, and then bam, you're just thrown out in this world with not a lot of guidance on what to do. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and it would be nice if we had the time to finish that off. But like I said, we really want to get to the point where we're providing fresh new content for where the vast majority of our player base is. Perhaps we can bridge the legacy to cash fix transition a little more smoothly, and we'll look at ways of doing something like that.
Is it intended that battle droids cannot be named, or is this a known issue?
Which type of droids, I'm sorry?
The battle droids. You can't name them?
Oh, it sounds like it may be a bug, but I also happen to know that is one of the stranger droid models, because it's actually considered an android because it's a humanoid style droid. So it's a new, we kind of went out on a limb and experimented a little bit here with a new droid type. So I'm sure there's going to be some fallout with it, because it's not like the old, if you remember our older droids, they were all like R2 modules and all of the non-humanoid body style except for the 3PO protocol droid.
Right.
And I think, you know what, the 3PO droid also suffers from this. So it's probably something universal to that android body style. And we'll have to look at fixing that at some point.
Okay. Some issues with the reverse engineering. One of the things, you can't reverse engineer anything with like a camo stat. Is that as intended, or is that something that needs to be fixed?
Nope, that got fixed yesterday. So
Okay.
it should be coming to a live server near you soon.
Awesome. Personal shield generators, when you make them, they have sockets with them, but you can't attach anything to them. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, there's a series of slots that there really shouldn't be sockets for. but are added through our generic crafting system. There's some point in there where it's adding these sockets and it really shouldn't be. So basically, it's just us identifying where that's happening and removing it from there, so the player is never confused that they think they can add it.
Okay. Are backpacks included with that, or is that something where you should be able to add slots or add?
Yeah, if you remember back to the backpacks, have always suffered from the problem where if you drug the object on top of it, it put the object inside of it. Or with our inventory sorting system, it puts it in front of it or behind it. Backpacks were never intended to have modifiers put in them. They never have modifiers put in them because, like I said, the modifier would always end up inside the backpack because it thought you were trying to drag and drop it inside of it.
Right.
And they're just getting a socket attached through our generic crafting process. So we'll just, like I said, with the belts, we'll have to identify that and remove it from a game model.
Okay, so it's not going to be a situation where crafters will be able to make backpacks that are on par with a looted backpack that has stats attached to it.
For now, that is correct.
Okay. The change from multiple slots to one slot on items, what was the reasoning behind that?
So when we started adding sockets to items, we started to notice some weird inconsistencies. The fact that certain stats would just be stripped, and you would take a stat modifier that had 3 stats on it, and it would mysteriously eat 2 of them, or it would overwrite an old one. And so we went back and started looking at that, and when we were looking at it, we also thought, do we really want the players to be able to put 12 different stats with plus 35 on one inventory object or wearable object? And we decided that was probably too powerful. So we just decided we would go with one socket, and the objects that can go into that socket can have 3 stats on them that go up to 35. So it was a balance issue, and it was us cleaning up some old code that just really didn't make sense to us anymore.
Okay. Chapter 5 saw the reduction of a number of modules an engineer can install in a droid. Are there any plans to add those modules back, or what was the reasoning behind removing those?
I think some of the modules were the older ones that were broken and really had no more function in them anymore.
Okay.
Like the medical module or something like that I can think of. It really doesn't do anything. So if we have stuff that really doesn't do anything, we have 2 options. We either make it do something or we remove it. If we didn't have time to make it do something, we would remove it because we just didn't want to confuse the players.
Why can't we call droids and structures in instance areas?
I don't think we've ever been able to call pets inside, and that's just some carry-on code. I'm not sure why on that one, and the other one was instances.
Yes.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure on that one either.
That seems like with bringing in like the battle droids and everything, having them there to help you would probably be pretty handy to be able to do that.
Yeah, and that may have been something that hasn't worked in a long time, but was recently brought about because players now are actually taking battle droids to instances. So yeah, we can look at that if that's a problem.
Okay. It was mentioned back around the time of the release of the NGE that you guys want to get to a point that every chapter that was released would have like something for every profession. Are you guys to that point where we're going to be seeing that now?
So yeah, now that the expertise is done, when we start discussing features we want to do, one of the big topics is, can we put in something that will affect everybody? And any feature that we put in, we try to skew it, so we want to give something everybody to do. Plus, it makes sense from our side to try and encompass all of the player base and everything that we're putting in.
Even with the ability to customize a weapon with the new skill attachments, it's generally felt that a crafted weapon is inferior to a quest-granted weapon. Even an increase in weapon level to, like, say, creature level 88 would help bring that back. Is there any plans to do that? Or bring back, like, for the crafted item to be on par or better than the quested item?
So the whole debate versus the looted and or crafted weaponry and object it's kind of like the decay one, that specific trader profession wants to have a reoccurring business with their weapons. There was a lot of animosity, even in the old game, towards not being able to find anything good in the world, and there was really not too much point in the loot except the components, which then I had to take to a crafter and trust him to put in a weapon and give it back to me, and hopefully it would be really good. There was a lot about that many of our players just didn't like, and the traders, of course, felt the brunt of it when we changed away from it. Now, we have put in a bunch of crafted stuff that should be able to be competitive with some of the drop stuff, specifically in the field of armor. Weaponsmith hasn't felt it as much. And like I said, we're always open to add new things that can hopefully enhance their business, the reoccurring business sales. But going back to the pure, if I want a weapon, I must go see a crafter, probably won't be coming back. I would more like to see the looted components that can be enhanced in the current weapon, or a current crafted weapon, kind of like what we did with the sockets, to drive the weapons themselves.
All right, and I know that probably didn't cover everything that I had, I just have pages and pages, and I probably could have kept you here till around like 9 o'clock tonight doing this interview with all the questions I received. I think I covered a lot of it. Is there anything else about Chapter 5 that, specifically you'd like to talk about or, throw out there?
No, I think we hit pretty much most of the issues. A lot of entertainer upgrades, a lot of trader upgrades. We did some great things for what we got up there, and I'm pretty happy with most of the chapters.
Awesome. So what about a possible peek at Chapter 6? Anything we get to look forward to?
As I've been saying on the boards, you should look for some planetary cleanup coming right before Chapter 6. That's in the works. We're looking at, of course, the Beastmaster thing has been thrown around on the board. We should have more details about that in the next couple days. And I think that's all we're talking about right now.
So is that a confirmed Beast Mastery Chapter 6?
We'll probably say a pretty big maybe. After that.
I think that's a perfect way to end this interview. Blix, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down with us and talk. Really appreciate it. And,
had a great time. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, Josh, so how do you think I did? Did I do a serviceable job, or did I sound like I was whacked out?
You sounded mildly retarded, like a fanboy.
I love you guys!
No, it was a good interview. It's good to meet the new lead designer.
Yeah.
Little cheer for Helios. Who's still around, I think. Just not.
And we liked Helios. I mean, we had nothing. Yeah, and I should have asked that. I should have asked that about the camping painting. I should have found out if that was like his, last little.
I love that painting.
Yeah. Sitting around with friends and having fun.
One thing I pretty much agree with him on everything there. Well, not everything, but one of the things I don't agree with him with is the lack of decay. I think decay is an integral part of any system like we have, where you have crafters and combat characters having to depend on each other. Like when you're talking about it, I don't think he was getting the point that there really is no repeat business.
Right. Well, no, I think he did, and I agree with you on decay. I think bringing decay back would be great for the system, but I also see where they're coming from. I mean, they've pulled so many changes out, like in this game, that have like completely pissed off the player base, that at this point, to do something that's really going to turn around and piss off a large chunk of your player base again really doesn't make sense for them. So to me, what it sounded like he was saying was, you know what, we need to find ways to get people to come back to crafters. And that the way that's going to be is we're going to keep giving them new content. We're going to give them new stuff that they can make, things that they can do to tweak what you have that will make you want to go back to them. Once you get like the highest power bits, make the higher level power bits rare, so you're going to keep coming back to them for those. But I could even see if like power bits decayed over time, like wore down to where you need new power bits to throw on there. But it sounds like they're really against the whole decay thing, which I think is good and bad. I mean, it's good that they don't want to piss the player base off again. And that's one thing. One of the things that he said during the interview that got me thinking and made me really see it. It goes back to like last week when I was talking about Jeff Freeman posting that like Blix is the guy you want, and this may have been a mythical post by him, but that Blix is the guy you want, and it sounds like the suits are sticking or getting out of it and letting them do their thing.
Makes me think it's mythical.
Well, what made me think that might be true is when I brought up the Legacy Quest and we're talking about the Legacy Quest and how really that doesn't, like, why aren't they continuing it? And his thing was, well, you know what, the majority of our player base, like a large majority of our player base, is level 90. They're at the end game. we need to bring in content that's for these guys, that's for the higher level people. And that made me think that, you know what, maybe that's true. Maybe the suits are getting out of the way, because the whole, let's make this thing fast paced, bring in new people, get all these new people in, throw out this NGE thing, which whoever thought the NGE was ready to draw new people in, I don't know. That's like that's a whole different management issue. But
Julio.
But the fact that they want to focus on like the higher level people, and they're not like the people who've been playing the game for a long time. It sounds more like it sounds more like
it's our time.
It sounds to me like they're the suits are more like, you know what? Take care of the people that are playing the game now. We're not going to focus. We're not going to hit WoW numbers. We're probably not even going to get back to pre-CU numbers. Just make the game fun for the kids that are playing it and the people who are playing it now.
Yeah. Well, when people, one thing I've always found that people say, pre-CU people, there was a lot more people playing and all that. This is an old MMO now.
Yeah.
People leave a game. About half the people that play a game when it comes out, they're just there for the ride. And then you have the other half, especially in a Star Wars license, that are going to be people that are like us, that are idiots. They'll keep paying for it no matter what.
Right. And you know what? This game never fulfilled the promise that they were hoping it would with, being a Star Wars IP. And then WoW came along and pretty much did everything that they wanted to do plus. But you know what? They tried the NGE. It didn't bring back the people. You can't do a rollback. You might as well, you know what? Make this system work. Make the people who are playing the game happy. And hopefully that's what they're going to do. Some of the things are encouraging with what they've started talking about with Chapter 6.
Yeah, I'm looking for,
which I really wanted to be the one that broke Beast Mastery. Dadgummit.
I know.
I was so excited. I was like, yes. I had you ready.
I was harassing you all week about that.
I was like, be ready. The second I get the approval, we're doing the show. We're getting this out.
Check your email every 5 minutes. took them an extra day, though, than we thought it would.
It did. And I think they had a problem with the volume, and that's something I'm totally trying to deal with. People have been saying the show's at such a low volume. I don't know what's going on. I think I found one thing tonight. I kind of cranked that up, and I'm going to mess around with some other stuff. But
it could be because you're on a Mac.
No, it's because you're all on PCs and you're probably riddled with spyware and viruses. Yeah, take that.
It makes my PC run faster.
Yeah.
That's why I was getting
your whole 4 frames a second when I was pulling like 20, 25 last night.
I know, I want a Mac. Or how much RAM do you got?
Just a gig.
I had 2 gigs on my computer. Doesn't run. I must need a new mother processor or something.
Yeah. You need a quad core system like me.
Quad core. My AGP video card.
So
anyway, where were we?
Yeah, we were just talking about the Blix interview, some things he talked about. It's good to see they know some of the issues and that they're open for. I think that's a big thing to point out, that they are open for suggestions, and it just goes. You call them idiots and say, "God, you're stupid for implementing the system." Guess what? No matter how good your idea is, they're probably not going to read it. So
yeah, I mean, I can't blame. I mean, I wouldn't want to sit there all day if someone being a dick to me.
Right.
I do that here, but that's only at night, once a week.
And you know what? It's the same thing. I don't mind if people have criticisms for the show, but if if they just come out and they're rude about things, it's what? You know what? I don't care what you say. Don't listen to this show then. If you have a legitimate complaint, say it.
Like the volume.
Yeah. The volume. If you disagree with us on something, post it on the boards. I put the episode feedback. Throw it on there. Disagree with us. It gives us stuff to talk about the next week. We can make fun of you or whatever for not knowing what you're talking about. What's all that good stuff?
Feedback's good. Being a cock isn't.
Yes. So what do you want to go into next? You want to discuss the whole Chapter 6 or talk about the producer letter first?
Wasn't that just Chapter 6?
Yeah, I think it was. So why don't we talk about that?
Wait. Let's talk about Beast Mastery.
Beast Mastery.
There was a whole thing. You read the thing. You know how they redid the system where it's going to be like you're raising an egg or something? Yeah,
pretty much you start off, you can get the DNA from a creature out in the field, you bring it back, you have like a whole incubator in your house, which I think this is a cool idea. You put an egg down, hatches from an egg, and then you raise it, you grow it, and kind of like similar to the system was before. But I don't know, you can learn moves from different creatures out in the field and teach it to kind of tweak your creature so not all creatures are going to be the same.
Yeah, not everyone will just have the same attack move, which is nice.
And the people who the only thing that they have to complain about is the fact that it's called Beast Mastery over Creature Handler.
Well,
they just need to relax.
There's one thing I do think what we were talking about is how it's not a separate profession. It's going to be eating into your expertise points that you already spent.
Right.
Which, I don't know if I like that so much or not. Maybe if they gave you some extra points, like another 20 or something. So you'd have to eat away too much of your template.
So everyone can have the same thing?
No, because if you invest your points into Creature Handler, Beastmaster, whatever you call it, you're taking away from your template.
Right.
And a lot of the templates, aside from, I think it's Spying Officer, maybe? Commando? But if you have Jedi, Bounty Hunter, all that, those are all skills you buy back with your expertise. If you're doing that, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage.
See, but here's the thing. Remember a little system called the pre-CU that everyone likes to say was like the god mode of the game? Like it was the greatest thing in the world. Remember, like if you had your template set and you wanted to try something different, you had to sit there and you had to decide, okay, what do I really want? Do I want to be, bounty hunter combat medic, or do I want to be bounty hunter rifleman? You have to pick and choose. People want all these additional options, but then they want additional points so they can try these options. And the thing is, everyone's just going to be the same then. If they made it so you didn't have to use your points or you got 20 more points, you're going to have two problems. Either one, everyone's going to use those 20 points into Beast Mastery and everyone's going to have creatures, or people are going to take those additional 20 points and completely deck out their main character with even more moves, making them even better in PvP than anyone else. And everyone who went Beast Mastery is going to complain that those people took those points and put them into or into their, like back into their template. So now they're even stronger that they need to be nerfed. It's just going to it's going to create a mess. So now you got to choose. Do I want to have the best heal my class can have? Do I want like this best move? Do I need this snare? Or do I want to put these into Beast Mastery? Do I want to have this creature to go along with me?
I don't really have a problem with that as long as the creature lines are not just, like a level 50 pet or something like that. Something near what Creature Handler was before it got the massive nerf.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it needs to be viable. It's something that can't be one-shotted.
Yeah, remember the old Pokemon days.
Yeah, we don't want Pokemon days, but the good thing is one creature at a time.
Yeah, or, well, hell, that'd be a good thing. Your expertise, you call up more creatures, and you can actually use them to some benefit.
Right.
Remember when we used to be able to call up 3 faction pets, and that was actually cool, and you could use them? 3 ATSTs or whatever?
3 ATSTs, yeah.
Yeah, and they're all level 60 or whatever they were in the CU, and they're useful. Well, that would be cool to have back. Both pets.
Here's hoping that happens, but
I'm hoping they make it worthwhile. I wish they'd do something with the other 2 ideas they had, the raid groups and the Garen one.
Oh, I'm sure they probably will. But I mean, you know what? It's not going to all come in one publish. So
yeah,
it's probably going to be one at a time, and it's probably going to be the same thing with adding additional features to expertise. I wonder, but they keep saying that now that the expertise is done, the original plan for the expertise was for every class to have 3 branches. One was supposed to be a GCW branch. I wonder if they decided to not do that. And that's something I should have asked. That's something I wish I would have gone back and asked them about.
Always next time.
Yeah. We'll get him back again.
What do you get Hans on?
I know. He seems like a chatty type.
I know. I want to see if it's really Alan Rickman or something. It'd be really cool.
Oh, man. So what else was there in the producer letter?
Oh, well. Our little 21-gun salute to Rogue 5.
Oh, man.
Who's moved on to, the DC SOE game. What's it called?
The DC SOE game. Does it have an official name right now?
I don't know, and I'm always weirded out the fact that Sony, which is a partner of Marvel Comics, is making the DC game.
Well, that's Sony Pictures.
Yeah, but it's still Sony. It's Microsoft is Microsoft no matter where you break it up at.
Yeah, Sony's a little bit different.
Okay, fine. And bye-bye, Julio.
Yes, bye-bye, Julio. But more about, Rogue 5,
That cut me off before I said anything.
Yeah. One, I don't want you to cuss Julio, because I know you met him and you didn't like him. But Rogue 5, I think anyone who had a chance to meet Rogue 5 would, knows that, he was just a nice guy. And it kind of concerns me, the fact that a guy with like the name Rogue 5 who like was so into Star Wars, like is no longer with the Star Wars project.
Well, Galaxy's went into development in 2000. He's been on the game 7 years.
Yeah. It might have been, hopefully it's a change that he wanted. And if it is, good luck to him. Hope everything works out great.
Yeah, because that's like a quarter of his life.
Yeah.
He's been working on this game. I couldn't imagine that.
Oh, man. That'd make anyone suicidal. But.
Oh, and then we had the poll that popped up on Friday night, I think?
Yeah. What content do you want to see in the game?
Or
what do you want to see them work on?
I voted PvE, even though I'm more of a PvPer.
Yeah.
Because I got to the point where I do kind of want to do some solo play sometimes.
Or even like small group, like 3 or 4 people, like going out without the risk of PvP.
Yeah, I wrote that, I kind of want something kind of like how I thought Kashyyyk should have been, where, the bottom of the trails, the Shadowlands or whatever?
Yeah.
I really wish there was like an instance like that where they just get dropped in the middle of the woods, like nowhere with just you and a couple of buddies, and you have to like fight for survival. Because I wanted that very tough instance that's good for 3 or 4 people, but you have a limit on it.
Yeah.
Or any repeatable content, but it wouldn't be repeatable because you're farming the loot over and over. Just something cool. What happened to those ranking boards they were talking about?
I have no clue. There's a lot of things that they talked about in the past that they...
Did that fold into the GCW monster?
Probably. I don't know.
I'm just thinking of the summit from last year because we got a summit coming up in Las Vegas.
But that's like the whole SOE thing, isn't it? That's not just
but I know Sushi is going, and I know Psycho Pyro because he lives in Vegas, and apparently the dev team's going down too. I'm not too clear on that. You think we'll ever see another Galaxy's exclusive summit?
Probably not. I think the reason why they did that was just because of the whole pissed off nature of the fan base after what happened.
They want a week off.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't call that a week off. That's a week of hell having to go on and be around
see
those
that video
people.
of that drunk guy yelling at Julio?
Yeah, that's always the best.
There's a picture of you on the website from that.
Yes, there is. And,
where's Ferric?
Now I have like a whole head of hair and afro, and it's all wonderful. Let's see, some of the other stuff from Chapter 6 that they were talking about. Was the slider they talk about possibly putting that in Chapter 6 for the particle effects?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused now with what we covered and what they did there.
And that's definitely a plus. It's funny because I
didn't even know about the producer letter until after the interview, so I never really had a chance to look forward to it.
Right.
But I know what they're saying. Didn't Blix say something about moving away from away from particle effects?
No, putting in the slider for the particle effects to give people the opportunity to turn them down.
Okay, it's been like 4 days since I heard the interview.
Yeah.
I should have listened to that before the show.
And then some of the other things, the house pack up is supposed to be coming. They said that's going to be before Chapter 6, I thought.
Yeah,
on the boards.
So what's a chapter? A month and a half?
Depending on if you have a holiday in there, but
there's no spring break. The dev team takes spring break. Yeah. But so if we get that halfway in between, that would make the house pack up the month-long thing happen like 2 weeks after the publish comes out. You'd start seeing the results. I'm looking forward to that.
What's cool is what they said they're going to do. They're going to flag the houses that have been in, like people haven't been, what is it? People who have been logged in for a year. So they're going to flag those houses. They're going to, like after, a few weeks?
A month.
After a month, something's going to happen that's going to make these houses blow up. Now, maybe they're going to steal my AT-AT idea I had with the AT-AT going around blowing them up.
Someone posted that. Someone who listens to the show posted that in there.
Really?
If you go to the dev tracker, someone's like, so we're going to see an AT&T walking around blowing them up?
Oh, man.
And then it was, Tara said something to the effect of no. But I wonder if they're going to get packed up, if they're going to explode.
I kind of hope they would explode. I mean,
here's my extra Tuesday tip. If you have a vendor and a ball with the person who owns it inactive, get your vendor out of there for the next month. I could see people wanting about that coming up. That they definitely lost all their stuff.
Well, you have a month. It's going to be flagged. It's going to be visibly flagged. You're going to have the time.
Yeah, there's going to be like email shooting up. They should probably fire an email out to whole, their newsletter subscribers.
Well, the way they made it sound, it's like the house. There's going to be some. It sounds like the name of the house. It's going to be flagged or something. So you'll know when you look at the title of the house if it's going to be destroyed or not.
Well, will that make them locked out of it too?
No, because during that time it's still open, so people could come in or effectively reactivate their account and save their house from being blown up. It's just flagged. It's flagged for destruction. And then after the month-long thing, then something's going to happen. It's going to come in. They're going to blow up.
I look forward to that. We could finally make a city out of our little crater.
I know. We got to be prepared. Like, we got to know when it's going to happen. You need to use your GC or Galactic Senator skills to find out before it happens, so we can be ready with a city hall and drop that
Microsoft calculator. How many days in March? So, there's one more big thing in that chapter we were going to blow. Do you have the producer letter up?
No, I don't have the producer letter up
to do.
Why don't you talk about something random for a second while I do
that? Okay. Tuesday tip. I found this on the board about a month ago, and I got the link we're going to put in the show notes. It's from the old boards, but there's a way, if you own the Nintendo Wii and you got the Wiimote, you can set up your Wiimote to work as a JTL joystick with the what do you call it? The nunchuck, I think it's called?
The Wiimote.
No, the nunchuck part of it.
You can use the nunchuck too?
The nunchuck with a thing with the little thumbstick on it is what you can use for joystick in space.
Nice. Now I'm interested. I thought they talked about using the Wiimote for moving.
I
thought that's what you were talking about.
Oh, I understand. From what I've seen, it's the nunchuck. You have that in your left hand. You have the other thing, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I might go buy one, but I won't.
You should. You should try and then tell me how it works, and maybe I'll hook one of mine up. Okay, some of the other things they talked about for Chapter 6. Storyteller. They're going to give people more of an opportunity to make their own content. Items.
That's cool for Issel.
Yeah, tokens that they can use. Drop props, add NPCs, play effects for atmosphere. So that looks really interesting.
Great lag.
Exactly. Someone people are they're gonna screw it up just like when you can make NPC shout stuff. They're gonna wait when someone's attacking a base. They're gonna drop all this crap everywhere. It's gonna lag people out, and they won't be able to destroy a base.
Fun times.
Yeah,
those are always great.
The Rebel theme park is going to get revamped for content for level ranges 85 to 90. The people who are complaining why the Rebel, not the Imperial, guess what? Chapter 7, but it's going to be the Imperial. Yeah. Don't rush them, because if they do them both at the same time, what's going to end up happening is it's going to be the same thing, except it's going to be one's going to be a Rebel twist, the other one's going to be an Imperial twist. So just let them do them separately.
I know, I saw a thread complaining about that. I was like, true to form, the first one will suck and the other one will work great. So I figure, hell, do mine second. I'm Imperial.
Exactly.
Let them make all their mistakes on the Rebel when it worked for Commando.
And then there's going to be the Zero Cabal quest series. It's going to be a series of quests for both the Rebel and the Imperials. And
I hope this is something you just can't shoot through in a day.
Right.
I want to. I don't like. I remember being so pissed off the village. I had to wait 3 weeks or whatever, or even the officer ranks with the GCW system to level up slowly. But it does make you pace yourself in the content, and I wouldn't mind seeing something like that, where I just can't sit down one afternoon and hey, I haven't had any content since Mustafar. I just blast through it.
Well, this is supposed to be between go for levels 85 to 90, which in the current situation would be anyone from 50 up could do it. But then Blix also said in an interview, he talked about the whole AI rebalance that they want to get done. I thought he said they wanted that for Chapter 6 too. So
yeah, so grind up now.
Yes,
get your general now.
So yeah,
is that going to be an ongoing quest series? The Azure?
I don't know.
It says quest series. Was that just quest series for the one chapter? Or is it
good question?
Legacy.
I don't know. And I liked his idea, Blix's idea about possibly doing some sort of bridge between the Legacy to Cache. Since right now you're just kind of thrown out in the middle of, guess what? You're done with Legacy. Find something to do. At least lead the people, say afterwards, go to Cache. Talk to this guy in Cache. And you're there's all these adventures you can can do on Cache. There you go. I just wrote the content for them.
They don't know how easy they have it grinding. What are you going to kill to get from 50 to 80 or whatever it is?
Yeah, I have no clue. Really,
you don't kill anything. You don't believe how many pickets I killed in my time.
I did try it. I did some picket killing, and I found it like ridiculously easy just to go out, kill a bunch of pickets, and level up. So it is entirely possible to just go out on Dant and do like the old days. And that's how I originally leveled up Fencer, Rifleman, all those good things. I went by myself, just went out and had my buff.
That's how I solo did my Jedi, and that was fun. That was slow.
Slow.
Actually, you know, it's a really good place to grind is the Force Ruins on Dantooine, because everything there is like 90, but it all has like 7k health.
Really?
Yeah, that's where when the NGE came out, I did my. I was one of those people that no matter what I did, I couldn't get those level up 1 orbs when the NGE came out that Christmas.
I got 2 of them.
Like, I know everybody got them, but me. I spent every day of the week. I ended up just leveling up to 90 trying to get them.
I actually put in one of my longest gaming sessions where I started at like 10 one morning. And like I took breaks throughout the day because I had my kids, but I was like logged in and everything. And I got done about 4 in the morning. I finally got to level 90. Like with the help of 2 orbs that I found doing it, killing clicknits.
I did my like 9-hour grind. I got really mad. What was like pre-NG, and I was doing my Master Defender box. It was like 3.2 million XP, and I got like I think it was 1,000 per kill. And I sat down. I was like, okay. Cracked the knuckles, and I went through 4 or 5 groups, but I did my entire box in 1 session, and that nearly killed me. So that made me want to play back then. I had motivation to play. I'm feeling like you this week. It's like a World Reversal or something. I don't want to play this crappy game anymore.
I've been playing the hell out of it. So, yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for this week, doesn't it? Did you have another Tuesday tip, or was that your only Tuesday tip?
I had like 3 throughout the show that I did.
Okay, you kind of just intertwined them.
I did. It was a segue, but you just ruined it.
I apologize.
That's okay.
You said you were going to save it for last, so I was hoping you would, but... Oh, well.
When did we follow show notes? This is the first time we've had them since... God,
forever.
Since Solon was on the show.
I know. All right, well, I want to thank you for co-hosting with me this week, even though you whine and complain the entire week about doing a show. I want to thank Blixtev for taking the time to sit down with us and talk. Hopefully we can do that again in the future. Who knows? Possibly Chapter 6. I know I'll be asking for someone. So thanks to everyone who listens. Check out our website, galaxyreport.com. Hit up the forums. Check out our poll questions. I'm always throwing stuff up there, so it always gives us content to talk about. From the last one, haven't talked about a poll question lately, but the last one I put up there, it seems like overwhelmingly about 70% of the people don't like the new forums. And that would probably have to do with the fact that they don't seem to be running half the time. But
I think I voted 3 times.
No.
I dislike the new forums a lot. The whole PM system, I don't understand why you don't get a PM notification. I have to go in there every day and check manually.
Well, you can set it up so you can email when you get a PM.
Yeah, last thing I want is SOE knowing my real email that I check.
Yeah. What else do we have? We have our email address, the galaxyreport@yahoo.com. Shoot us questions, whatever. Tell us how great we are, how bad we suck, what we got right, what we got wrong. We don't care. We'll talk about it. It's all good. There's my clock ringing in the background. So I think that wraps it up.
Send us donations.
We have the donations. I had to take money out to put more Skype out minutes so I could actually do the interview this week. So check out the donation buttons. I think I have those back up. I don't know, but if I don't, I will by the time that this is. Well, I did when we did the whole donate to Child's Play instead of giving us money for December because I was in the whole charity mood. So
our sweetheart moment.
Yeah.
We're humanitarians.
Show's done. We'll see you all next week.
If you are enjoying the Star Wars fan audio production you're listening to right now, then don't stop there. Come see what the excitement is about.